It is 4:47 a.m. You are sitting in the back of a car that costs more than most people make in a year. The driver knows your name, but you do not know his. You are on your way to an airport to board a plane that will take you to a city where you will sit in a room with 11 other people and make a decision that will affect 4,000 jobs. You made $6.2 million last year. You have not cooked a meal in 3 years. You have not taken a full weekend off in longer than you can remember. Your daughter turned 16 last month. You sent her a card. You did not go to the dinner. There was a call. There is always a call. The car moves through empty streets, and you stare out the window at a city that is still sleeping, and you try to remember the last time you wanted something for yourself. Not for the company. Not for the shareholders. Not for the board. For yourself. You cannot remember. And the worst part, the part you have never said out loud to anyone, is that you are not sure you would leave even if you could. Because the trap does not feel like a trap from inside it. It feels like achievement. It feels like everything you ever worked for. You are 23 years old and you have $340 in your bank account. Not $3,400. Not $340,000. $340. You have a degree that took 4 years and left you with $67,000 in debt. The degree is in business administration, which means it is in everything and nothing simultaneously. You live in a studio apartment that smells faintly of the previous tenant's cooking. The walls are thin enough that you can hear your neighbor's television through them. You own a mattress, a folding table, a chair, and a laptop that takes 4 minutes to boot up. Your first job out of college pays $38,000 a year. You are an administrative coordinator at a mid-sized logistics company. Your job title sounds like something. It is not something. You process invoices. You update spreadsheets. You schedule meetings for people who cancel them. You send calendar invitations to people who decline them without explanation. Your desk is in the middle of an open floor plan that seats 60 people. There are no walls. There are no doors. There is no privacy. When your manager raises her voice, everyone hears it. You wear a collared shirt every day because the employee handbook says business casual, and you are not yet sure where the line is. You take home $2,200 a month after taxes. Your rent is $1,050. Your student loan payment is $480. The remaining $670 covers food, transportation, phone, and everything else your life requires. You have no savings. You have no safety net. You have a 5-year plan written in a notebook that you look at every Sunday night. Year 1, prove yourself. Year 2, get promoted. Year 3, move up again. Year 4, start being taken seriously. Year 5, be somewhere that matters. You believe in the plan the way only people who have never had a plan fail believe in plans. You stay late every night. Not because anyone asked you to. Because you are building a record that no one can argue with. You go home at 9 p.m. and eat whatever is cheapest and set your alarm for 6:15 and do it again. You are at the bottom. The bottom is uncomfortable in ways that make climbing feel like the only option. That is not an accident. 14 months in, your manager calls you into a conference room. You assume you are in trouble. You are not in trouble. She offers you a team lead position. For people reporting to you. A $12,000 salary increase. A new job title on your email signature. You accept before she finishes the sentence. That night you call your parents. Your mother cries a little. Your father says he always knew. You sit on your folding chair in your studio apartment, and feel something that you will later recognize as the last uncomplicated happiness you experience for a very long time. The new role teaches you something nobody warned you about. Managing people is not about leading people. It is about absorbing them. Every problem they have becomes your problem. Every conflict between them becomes your conflict. Every time the company's demands collide with a person's humanity, you are the collision point. A woman on your team has a sick parent and needs to leave early twice a week for 3 months. The policy does not accommodate this cleanly. You spend 11 hours navigating the policy on her behalf and documenting everything correctly so she keeps her job. She keeps her job. She never knows what it took. A man on your team is struggling with the pace of the work. He is slow and careful and good, But the metrics do not measure slow and careful and good. They measure throughput. You spend 6 weeks coaching him on speed before your manager tells you the decision has already been made and you need to prepare the termination paperwork. You walk him out. You shake his hand. You go back inside. You are paid $50,000 now. You can afford the apartment lease renewal. You can afford to stop looking at prices in grocery stores. You tell yourself this is progress. It is progress. It is also the beginning of something you do not have a name for yet. 3 years later you are at a different company. You left the logistics firm because the ceiling was visible, and you had not come this far to hit a ceiling this low. The new company is larger. A technology services firm. 3,000 employees across 6 offices. A lobby with a sculpture in it. A badge with your photograph and your full name and the word senior beneath your title. You make $78,000 a year. You have a 401k that the company matches up to 4%. You have 3 weeks of vacation that you take 9 days of. The other 6 days accumulate in a system that will pay them out if you ever leave, which you tell yourself you will never do, which means you will never collect them, which means the company has found a way to get labor it will never fully compensate you for, and you have found a way to feel grateful for the arrangement. This is level 3. The language is different here. You learn it the way you learn any language. By immersion, by imitation, by making mistakes in front of people who notice them and not making the same mistake twice. Strategic alignment. Stakeholder management. Bandwidth. Deliverables. Actionable insights. Scalable solutions. These phrases exist not to communicate but to signal. They signal that you understand how organizations work, that you can be trusted to sit in rooms with important people and not say anything that reveals you don't belong there. You sit in those rooms. You say the right things at the right moments. You say nothing at the moments when saying nothing is correct. You are building something here. A reputation. A track record. A version of yourself that the company finds legible and promotable. The version of yourself that existed before, the one that had opinions and enthusiasms and a 5-year plan written in a notebook, that version is still there. But it speaks more quietly now. And you have stopped asking it questions. The promotion to manager comes with a private office. The office has a door. The door changes everything. Not because of what it keeps out. Because of what it keeps in. You are 31 years old. You manage a team of 12 people. You report to a director named Marcus who manages 4 teams including yours. Marcus reports to a vice president. The vice president reports to the chief operating officer. The chief operating officer reports to the CEO. You are 5 levels from the top of a company of 3,000 people. You make $112,000 a year plus a performance bonus that arrives in February and feels simultaneously like a reward and a reminder that your compensation is contingent on a set of metrics you only partially control. You have power now. Real, visible, organizational power. You can approve expenses. You can approve time off. You can recommend promotions and flag performance issues and shape the trajectory of 12 people's careers through the way you describe them in reviews that they will never see. You also discover what power at this level actually costs. It costs proximity. You are no longer one of the people doing the work. You are the person accountable for the people doing the work. The distance between those 2 positions is larger than the organizational chart suggests. Your team likes you. You know this because they tell you and because you have learned to read the difference between teams that like their manager and teams that are performing compliance. But they do not trust you completely. Not because you have done anything wrong. Because you are management now. And management, regardless of who holds the title, represents an entity whose interests are not always aligned with theirs. You understand this. You also understand that the entity whose interests you represent has been good to you. And so you learn to hold both things without resolving them. You check your email at 10:47 p.m. every night. Not because anything requires your response at 10:47 p.m. Because you have become the kind of person who cannot not check their email at 10:47 p.m. You do not notice when this happens. You only notice it years later when you try to stop and cannot. You are 37. You have been at the company for 9 years. You have been promoted 4 times. You have an office on the 3rd floor with a window that looks out over a courtyard. The courtyard has trees. You look at the trees when you are on calls that do not require you to look at anything else. You have logged many hours looking at those trees. Your title is Director of Operations. You have 60 people across 3 teams. You make $195,000 plus equity that vests over 4 years plus a bonus that, in a good year, brings your total compensation close to $280,000. You fly business class on flights over 3 hours. You stay in hotels that have gyms and restaurants and turn down service. You have a corporate card with a limit that you have never approached. From the outside, you have made it. From the inside, something has shifted. The work has changed. Not the company's work. Your work. Your work is now almost entirely the management of information. Reports prepared by your managers. Summaries of actual work done by actual people whose names you increasingly have to check before one-on-ones. The information that reaches you is not raw. It has been filtered through 4 layers of people who each made a decision about what to include and what to leave out. Problems become challenges. Failures become learnings. Risks become considerations. You know this because you were once one of the people doing the filtering. You know exactly how much of the actual picture you are not seeing. And you have made a quiet decision, not a conscious decision, not a decision you could point to, that the sanitized version is the version you will work with. Because the alternative would require more from you than the role has room for. You attend a leadership offsite at a resort in a warm climate. You eat well. You talk about strategy. You do an exercise where you identify your leadership style. You fly home on Sunday night, and your spouse asks how it was and you say fine. You do not mention that you spent 3 days performing a version of yourself that you are no longer sure is a performance. You open your laptop on the couch. You send 4 emails. You close the laptop. You open it again. The title change comes on a Tuesday. An email from HR. A new signature block. A new level of access in the company's systems. Chief Operating Officer. You are in the C-suite. You report directly to the CEO. You make $1.1 million in base salary. Your bonus target is 60% of base. Your equity grants, if the company performs, will make your total compensation in a good year something that you have stopped describing to people because the numbers produce reactions that complicate conversations. You have a corner office on the top floor. You have an executive assistant who manages your time with an efficiency that makes you feel both supported and slightly administered. You have a driver. You have a security briefing when you travel internationally. You are 3 levels from the top of a company of 8,000 people. Here is what level 6 actually is. Level 6 is the level where the trap closes. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Quietly. Gradually. The way a door swings shut in a room with no wind and you only notice it when you turn around and it is already closed. The compensation is so significant that leaving would require not just a new job but a complete reconstruction of a life that has reorganized itself around a number. The private schools require a number. The mortgage on the house in the neighborhood you chose for its school district requires a number. The membership at the club where you have Sunday dinners requires a number. The therapist, the trainer, the couples counselor, the financial advisor, the estate planner, all of them require a number. And the number is only available at this level. Or higher. So you stay. Not because you love it. Not because you are passionate about operational efficiency or supply chain optimization or the 14 strategic priorities that the board approved last quarter. You stay because the infrastructure of your life has been built around the assumption that you will always be here. And taking it apart would mean admitting something you are not ready to admit. You are on your phone at your son's school play. He is 14. He plays the third soldier from the left. He has 4 lines. You hear one of them. The call ends before the second act. You watch the rest of it through a window in the lobby while speaking quietly to someone in a time zone that is 8 hours ahead of yours. Your son sees you through the window. He does not wave. He has stopped waving. The CEO position opens when the previous one retires after 11 years. The board conducts a search. You are the internal candidate. You are chosen. You are 51 years old. Your compensation package in the first year is $14 million. Most of it is in equity. If the stock performs, subsequent years will be more. You sit at the head of a table in a boardroom on the top floor of a building with your company's name on the exterior. You have 8,000 employees across 11 countries. You have revenues of $3.2 billion. You wake up at 5 a.m. You read a briefing prepared by your chief of staff. You work out. You are driven to the office. You are in meetings from 7:30 a.m. until the building empties and sometimes after. You make decisions every day that affect people you will never meet in cities you have never visited. You approve the acquisition of a company for $600 million. You approve the closure of a facility in a city where your company has operated for 30 years. 800 people will lose their jobs. You understand what that means for those people. You sign the order. You go to dinner. You laugh at something. You go home. This is the level nobody tells you about. Not the compensation. Not the power. Not the access. The specific loneliness of it. The board watches every decision. The investors watch the stock. The analysts watch the earnings. The employees watch you for signals about their futures. Every word you say in a public setting is parsed. Every offhand comment in a staff meeting generates task forces. You cannot speak casually anymore. You cannot have an opinion that is not immediately a directive. You cannot be uncertain in front of anyone because your uncertainty is everyone's uncertainty and the company cannot afford everyone's uncertainty. So you perform certainty. Every day. In every room. In front of every audience. And late at night, when the building is empty and your driver is waiting and your spouse is somewhere in the house doing something that doesn't include you anymore, you sit in the corner office on the top floor of a building with your name on it, and you feel the full weight of a life that has become entirely load-bearing. There is no version of you left that is not required somewhere. You are your role. Your role is you. And you cannot tell where one ends and the other begins. The car moves through empty streets at 4:47 a.m. You have a call in 40 minutes. After the call, the flight. After the flight, the meeting about the 4,000 jobs. You stare out the window at a city still sleeping. Somewhere in that city there is a young person in a studio apartment with a folding table and a mattress and a 5-year plan written in a notebook. They are setting their alarm for 6:15. They are going to wear their collared shirt tomorrow. They are going to stay late. They are going to build a record no one can argue with. They believe that if they just keep climbing, they will eventually reach a place where the climbing stops. Where the view is clear and the air is clean and the thing they sacrificed everything to reach turns out to have been worth it. You were that person. You remember the notebook. You remember the studio apartment. You remember the exact feeling of the first promotion, the last uncomplicated happiness. You want to find a way to tell them. Not to stop climbing. Not that the view isn't real or the compensation isn't significant, or the power doesn't exist. Just that somewhere between level 1 and level 7, the climbing stops being a means to something and becomes the thing itself. And by the time you understand that, the infrastructure of your life makes getting off impossible. The car stops at a red light. On the sidewalk, a man in a warehouse uniform walking toward a bus stop. Early shift. Or late shift ending. His badge catches the streetlight for a moment. A barcode where a name would be. He does not look at the car. The car does not look like something you look at. It looks like the background of someone else's life. The light turns green. You look at your phone. 3 emails since you last checked. 17 minutes ago. You open the first one. The pyramid holds. It has always held. You are at the top. The top is also a floor.